What is up, guys? EJ here, back with another video, and today it's going to be my DVD collection for 2016 and the romance section. So let's get started. So up first we have 50 First Dates from 2004. Yeah, I'm not a huge Adam Sandler fan, but when he teams up with Drew Barrymore, it seems to work. I like this movie a lot, set in Hawaii. Good soundtrack as well. Up next we have 500 Days of Summer. Sorry about the glare there. Yeah, really good, smart, funny film from 2009 with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschanel. Up next we have About a Boy from 2002. Yeah, really good performance by Hugh Grant. Rachel Weisz, delightful as always. Toni Collette, good actress. And young Nicholas Hoult. I think this was one of his first films. Up next we have An Affair to Remember from 1957. Classic, of course, directed by Leo McCarey with Cary Grant and Deborah Kerr. Up next we have Alfie, the 1966 original starring Michael Caine. Wasn't a fan of the Jude Law remake, but the first one's great. Up next we have The American President from 1995. Absolutely love this film, starring Michael Douglas and Annette Bening, of course, about a president trying to have a social life. Great film, directed by Rob Reiner. Really good supporting cast, Martin Sheen, Michael J. Fox. Just a really good film about the presidency as a whole as well. That's why I like that film a lot. Up next we have Annie Hall, Woody Allen's Oscar-winning film from 1977. Probably my favorite Woody Allen film, who of course stars in the movie alongside Diane Keaton. Up next we have The Apartment, classic from 1960. Again, Oscar-winning film from that year with Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine, and Fred MacMurray. Up next we have As Good as It Gets from 1997. Really good film, directed by James L. Brooks. Fantastic Oscar-winning performances by Jack Nicholson and Helen Hunt. Greg Kinnear, really good as well. Okay, up next we have Richard Linklater's Before Sunrise trilogy. Yeah, absolutely love these films, starring Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy. The first one from 1994, I believe, or 95. Yeah, just beautiful characters, great story. Before Sunset from 2004. The soundtrack that Julie Delpy did for this movie is fantastic. I have that CD. And of course we have Before Midnight on Blu-ray from 2013. This film got a little bit too real, but it's still really good. Yeah, all these films set 9 years apart, following these two great characters. Just really great filmmaking by Richard Linklater, who always seems to do something different. Alright, up next we have Breakfast at Tiffany's from 1961. Fantastic film, of course, one of Audrey Hepburn's best, alongside George Peppard. Up next we have Bridget Jones' Diary from 2001, of course, with Renee Zellweger, Colin Firth, and Hugh Grant. Good fun. I like the first one. I wasn't really a fan of the second one. And of course we have a third one coming out either this week or next week. It doesn't look very good, to be honest, but I'll still probably see it eventually. Up next we have Ang Lee's Brokeback Mountain from 2005. In my opinion, this should have won Best Picture that year instead of Crash. I think it's a film that will be remembered long before Crash gets remembered. Fantastic performances by Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal, of course. Anne Hathaway and Michelle Williams, really good as well. Beautiful music. Just gorgeous settings. Just a great film. Up next we have Bus Stop from 1956 with Marilyn Monroe and Don Murray. Up next we have one of my all-time favorite films, Casablanca, of course, from 1942. Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman. Just so many classic scenes. Everything about this film is just amazing. Paul Henry, just great. Claude Rains, Sidney Greenstreet, just a fantastic film. Next we have Casanova from 2005. Sorry, yeah, a film directed by Lasse Hallström with Heath Ledger, Sienna Miller, and Jeremy Irons. The only thing I really remember about this film is when it came out in the theaters and I was working in the projection booth. I built up the movie and I accidentally put the reels out of order. So on the first showing on the Friday it came out, people saw the film out of sequence, which is my bad. Alright, up next we have Chocolat, another film directed by Lasse Hallström from 2000. Yeah, really good movie with Juliette Binoche, Judi Dench, Alfred Molina, Lena Olin, and Johnny Depp. Up next we have Cruel Intentions from 1999, sort of a guilty pleasure with Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Philippe, and Reese Witherspoon. I think that's like a remake of Dangerous Liaisons, something like that. Up next we have Definitely Maybe from 2008. Yeah, really underrated romantic comedy with Ryan Reynolds, Abigail Breslin, who plays his daughter in the movie, and then three great female actors who I enjoy: Isla Fisher, Rachel Weisz, and Emily Banks. Elizabeth Banks, sorry. Derek Luke in the film as well. Yeah, really good soundtrack. Sort of a good 90s setting. Like that film a lot. Alright, up next we have Don John on Blu-ray. Yeah, film directed by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who of course stars in the movie. Scarlett Johansson, beautiful, stunning in this film. He wrote the film as well. Julianne Moore as well. Yeah, I like this film. Alright, up next we have Down with Love from 2003, sort of a homage to the 60s with Renee Zellweger and Ewan McGregor. Great snappy dialogue, very colorful, very cool film. I like that film a lot. Alright, up next we have Elizabethtown from 2005. Really good film directed by Cameron Crowe, Orlando Bloom and Kirsten Dunst, wonderful in this movie. Susan Sarandon, Alec Baldwin as well. Great ending as well, that film. Great soundtrack. Up next we have The English Patient, of course, Oscar-winning film from 1996, directed by Anthony Minghella, with Ralph Fiennes, Juliette Binoche, Willem Dafoe, and Kristen Scott Thomas. I actually read the book for this film in a film class in college, and of course it's Elaine Bennis's hated film from Seinfeld. Up next we have Enough Said, speaking of Elaine Bennis, that's funny, from 2013 on Blu-ray. Yeah, one of the last films James Gandolfini made. Very sad, of course. Yeah, alongside Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I thought they were really good together in this film. Catherine Keener, Toni Collette, and Ben Falcone. Really good movie. Up next we have Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind from 2004. Amazing film directed by Michel Gondry. Jim Carrey, fantastic performance alongside Kate Winslet. Really good supporting cast. Kirsten Dunst, Mark Ruffalo, Elijah Wood, Tom Wilkinson. Just a fantastic movie. Alright, up next we have The Fault in Our Stars on Blu-ray. The Little Infinities Extended Edition from 2014. Yeah, really good performance by Shailene Woodley and Ansel Elgort. Just a sweet, tragic romance. Really good film. Up next, we have 50 Shades of Grey. Maybe not a romantic film to most people, but definitely a guilty pleasure for me from last year, 2015. I picked this up in my update earlier last month with Dakota Johnson, of course. Alright, up next we have The 5-Year Engagement from 2012. Yeah, really good film. Jason Segel wrote the screenplay. Emily Blunt, big fan of her. And Alison Brie, fantastic in this film. Yeah, really good film. Great performances and just a really good script. Like I said, written by Jason Segel. Up next we have Four Weddings and a Funeral. Classic film, British film directed by Mike Newell. from 1994, sort of the film that introduced Hugh Grant and his sort of charm and those type of British comedies in the 90s alongside Andy McDowell. Up next we have From Here to Eternity from 1953. Fantastic film, one of the best of the 50s, with Burt Lancaster, Deborah Kerr, Montgomery Clift, Donna Reed, who's stunning in this movie, Frank Sinatra, of course, set against the backdrop of the Pearl Harbor attack in 1941. Up next we have Garden State from 2004, really good film, of course, written and directed by Zach Braff, who stars in the movie alongside Natalie Portman. Absolutely loved the two of them in that movie. Great soundtrack. Up next we have Ghost from 1990, special collector's edition. Fantastic, of course. Richard Gere, Demi Moore, and Whoopi Goldberg. Of course, the clay making scene, one of the most memorable in movie history, along with the soundtrack by the Righteous Brothers. Just a fantastic movie. Up next we have The Goodbye Girl from 1977, based on Neil Simon. With Richard Dreyfuss and Marsha Mason. Up next we have The Graduate, classic from 1967, of course, directed by Mike Nichols, with Dustin Hoffman, Anne Bancroft, and Catherine Ross. I picked this up on Criterion recently as well. Just one of the great films of the 60s. Up next on Blu-ray, 3D Blu-ray, we have The Great Gatsby, directed by Baz Luhrmann, from 2012 or 2013, sorry, with Leo DiCaprio, Carey Mulligan, Joel Edgerton. Yeah, good film, sort of over the top in many scenes, but I like the story. I liked Leo's performance. Not bad, I thought. Up next we have Guess Who's Coming to Dinner from 1967, classic, of course, with Spencer Tracy, Sidney Poitier, and Katharine Hepburn. Just a fantastic movie, one of the best of the 60s. Alright, up next we have He's Just Not That Into You from 2009, really good film, really good cast, Ben Affleck, Jennifer Aniston, Drew Barrymore, Jennifer Connelly, Kevin Connolly, Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Goodwin, Scarlett Johansson, and Justin Long. All of those actors, for the most part, I like. Up next, we have The Holiday from 2006. Really underrated film, directed by Nancy Meyers. I've always liked this movie with Cameron Diaz and Jude Law, Kate Winslet, and Jack Black. Great film to watch over Christmas. And also a really good movie about movies as well. Up next we have How to Steal a Million from 1966, directed by William Wyler, with Audrey Hepburn and Peter O'Toole. Up next we have In Good Company from 2004. Really like Topher Grace's performance in this, alongside Scarlett Johansson and Dennis Quaid. Up next we have It's Complicated from 2009, film directed by Nancy Meyers, with Meryl Streep, Steve Martin, and Alec Baldwin. Up next we have Lost in Translation, great film directed by Sofia Coppola, with a fantastic performance by Bill Murray. Scarlett Johansson, wonderful as well, hasn't looked better in my opinion, from 2003. Of course, great movie set in Tokyo, Japan. Up next we have Love Actually from 2003, one of these great British romantic comedies, another great film to watch at Christmas. Fantastic cast: Hugh Grant, Liam Neeson, Colin Firth, Laura Linney, Emma Thompson, Alan Rickman, Keira Knightley, Rowan Atkinson, and there he is, the guy who of course went on to play Rick on The Walking Dead. I forgot his name. Don't know if it actually be here on the back. Yeah, I'm blanking on his name. But yeah, good actor. He's really good in Love Actually as well. Up next we have Love Story from 1970, with Ali McGraw, who's fantastic in this movie, and Ryan O'Neal, of course. Love Means Never Having to Say You're Sorry. Up next we have Manhattan, another Woody Allen classic from 1979, with Diane Keaton, Meryl Streep as well. Great film, great looking movie, beautiful black and white. Okay, up next we have Marty with Ernest Borgnine. Fantastic performance by him in this film from 1955. Up next we have Memoirs of a Geisha from 2005 with Zhang Zi, Gong Li, Chow Yun-fat. Great looking film, directed by Rob Marshall. Up next we have Moonstruck from 1987 with Cher and Nicolas Cage. Great film directed by Norman Jewison. Up next we have The Notebook from 2004 with Ryan Gosling, Rachel McAdams, Jenna Rollins, and James Garner. Great film. Of course, has been made, a lot of Nicholas Sparks romantic films have been made since this film, but this one's still the benchmark. Fantastic movie, great performances. Big fan of that film. Up next we have Notting Hill, another Hugh Grant classic from 1999 with Julia Roberts, of course. I really like, I think it's Rhys Ifans. He's really good in this film as well. Up next we have Now Voyager from 1942 with Bette Davis, Paul Heinried, and Claude Rains. Up next we have Penny Serenade from 1941 with Cary Grant and Irene Dunne. Okay, up next we have Pillow Talk from 1959 with Rock Hudson and Doris Day. Up next we have Playing by Heart from 1999. Really good film, great cast. Gillian Anderson, Ellen Burstyn, Sean Connery, Anthony Edwards, Jay Moore, Dennis Quaid, Jenna Rollins, Jon Stewart, and Madeline Stowe. Angelina Jolie and Ryan Phillippe, they're the two standouts when I first saw this movie. The two of them together are just electric in this film. Just a great movie. If you get a chance to see it, I highly recommend it. Up next we have Pretty Woman, classic of course from 1990 with Richard Gere, Julia Roberts, the soundtrack, Jason Alexander as well, really good. Just a classic. Up next we have Pride and Prejudice from 2005 with Keira Knightley. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which came out earlier this year. Of course, classic based off Jane Austen's novel, so I'll definitely be picking that up. Next, we have The Proposal from 2009. Yeah, I really like this film with Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds. Good performances by those two. I like that film. Next, we have Paul Thomas Anderson's Punch Drunk Love from 2002 with Adam Sandler and Emily Watson. Great performance by Sandler. I don't think he's been better. Philip Seymour Hoffman and Luis Guzman as well. Yeah, this film's coming out on Criterion Collection later this year or pretty soon, so I'm definitely going to pick that up. Up next we have The Quiet Man from 1952. Classic, of course, directed by John Ford with John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara. Just a fantastic movie. Up next we have Reality Bites from 1994. Film directed by Ben Stiller, who of course stars in the movie alongside Winona Ryder and Ethan Hawke. Alright, up next we have The Remains of the Day. Great Merchant Ivory production from 1994. Fantastic performances by Anthony Hopkins and Emma Thompson. Just a wonderful film. If I can get it back in, we can move on. Okay, Roman Holiday from 1953 with Gregory Peck and Audrey Hepburn, who of course won Best Actress for this film. Directed by William Wyler. Just a fantastic movie. Up next we have Franco Zeffirelli's Romeo and Juliet from 1968. Yeah, beautiful film, of course. And that leads me to Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, William Shakespeare's Romeo plus Juliet. The title was, this is the music edition with Leo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. Great soundtrack, always been a fan of the soundtrack from this film. A little bit over the top, I don't love like John Leguizamo in that movie, but still really good movie. Up next we have A Room with a View from 1986. Another film directed by James Ivory. Yeah, really good cast. Maggie Smith, Denholm Elliott, Judi Dench, Simon Callow, Helena Bonham Carter, Julian Sands, Daniel Day-Lewis. Also have this on Criterion. Alright, up next we have Sabrina from 1954. Great film starring Humphrey Bogart, Audrey Hepburn, and William Holden. Wasn't a fan of the remake with Harrison Ford. Up next we have Secretary from 2002. Fantastic film directed by Steven Shainberg with James Spader and Maggie Gyllenhaal. Yeah, Maggie Gyllenhaal is fantastic in that film. Up next we have Shakespeare in Love. Oscar-winning film from 1998, of course, with Gwyneth Paltrow and Joseph Fiennes, Jeffrey Rush, Colin Firth, Judi Dench, and Ben Affleck. Up next, we have The Shop Around the Corner from 1942, I believe, or 1940, something like that. Great film by Ernst Lubitsch with James Stewart and Margaret Sullivan. This, of course, was made into You've Got Mail, which will be coming up soon. Up next, we have Singles from 1992. Great film written and directed by Cameron Crowe. Yeah, Bridget Fonda, Campbell Scott, Kira Sedgwick, and Matt Dillon. The soundtrack is just fantastic. One of my favorite soundtracks of the 90s is the Singles soundtrack. Up next, we have Sleepless in Seattle from 1993. Classic, of course, with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. Film directed by Nora Ephron. Up next, we have Something's Gotta Give. Same people who made It's Complicated, directed by Nancy Meyers. From 2003 with Jack Nicholson, Diane Keaton, Keanu Reeves, Frances McDormand, and Amanda Peet, who's really good in that movie. Up next, we have Tristan and Isolde from Before Romeo and Juliet. There was Tristan and Isolde. Really good film from 2006 with James Franco and Sophia Myles, who's beautiful in this movie. Rufus Sewell is good as the villain. He's always a good villain, but yeah, I like that film a lot. I saw it twice in the theaters when it came out. Up next, we have The Ugly Truth. I think from 2009 with Katherine Heigl and Gerard Butler. This was before Katherine Heigl became a bit of a pill. So I like her in that movie, and the dialogue in that film is pretty good, I think. Up next, we have The Way We Were. Classic from 1973 with Barbra Streisand and Robert Redford. Film directed by Sidney Pollack. Alright, up next we have When Harry Met Sally, another Meg Ryan classic from 1989, of course, with Billy Crystal. Great movie directed by Rob Reiner. Up next we have YPF, or Young People Fucking as it's known. Yeah, really interesting film about sexual relationships, different people in various undress having sex, obviously, but it's not very graphic. But still lots of good nudity in that film. And last but not least, we have You've Got Mail, like I said, a remake of The Shop Around the Corner from 1998 with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, and the film directed by Nora Ephron. So that is my romance collection. Up next will be Sci-Fi. Which is one of my big sections, so it'll probably be 3 parts, I think. So thank you for watching as always, and until then, I'll see you.
Bond. James Bond.